Hi again. This is Faith and a Lie is Not Faith. I'm Alex. You can always reach us at faithandaliasnotfaith at gmail.com. Any questions, any comments, anything help with something, whatever, drop me a line. And I'm picking up right where I just left off. Basically, I'm trying to keep these to an hour. I try not to make them too extravagantly long. And basically, as I say, I'm doing these on my Mac. And on the last one, I had 50 minutes on one, and I accidentally hit and stopped it, so I had to start from there. There was another 11 minutes and change, so it's about an hour. And when I have someone put them together, it'll be just over an hour and 2 minutes or so. But where I was with on the prior one with the Antichrist, and here where it's mentioned in the 1 John chapter 3, verse 18 and 19, and it tells you who the Antichrist is. Well, first of all, it says that there are many Antichrists at the moment, okay? And it says that they came from us, but they were not of us, because if they would have been of us, they would have remained with us. But they went out so that it would be clear who they are. So again, I ask, who are the only people on the planet that claim to come from the Jews, but are not Jews? Which comes to some of the other teachings behind this. All the way through here, Christianity says there is God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. And these three are one. That's not what it says. Nowhere. That's something that you will not find anywhere in the Bible. Okay? Never, ever, ever once does it say Jesus is God. Never. Just not there. Never does it say there are three of us that are a trinity and the three of us are one. Never, ever. What it does say, and this is why the language is so important. Okay, as I said on the previous one, if you call upon the Lord, Satan has deceived you. If you believe that 2,000 years ago the Jews spoke English, it's just something that I just can't, to me, well, that's what we call them now. I've heard all of the excuses. That's what we call them now. Okay, so now that you know that that's a lie, you'll never call them that again, right? Well, the Lord, you have to call on the Lord to be saved. Okay? It's a circle of, of lies. It's a circle of lies. Okay? To where it's the same as Genesis 1:26. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Well, that would be 3:22. Let us make man in our likeness, after our image. But in Genesis 1:26, let us make man in our image. Okay. Now, some of the words, okay, us and our. If anyone can show me where us, anywhere, it doesn't even have to be in the Bible. Okay, that's how tough this one is for you. Okay, if you can show where us is specifically three and only three, you win my $1,000 challenge. Okay, because I've put forth a challenge to all of the educated. To Dr. Brown is who it started with. On the radio, I challenged him to a debate where he says that he could prove that the language of the Bible was Greek. The only problem is that he contradicts himself. If you listen to the recording, it's on YouTube, 12:12:22, and then 1:12:23. Okay, you will see that first he says no, that the Jews could not speak, read, or write Hebrew. Then he says, well, some of them could. Well, in Jerusalem they could. Well, here they could, Judea. Well, Jerusalem, Judea, that's the land of Israel. Okay, but according to him, they could not speak, read, or write Hebrew. That's why the New Testament was written in Greek. And I challenged him $1,000 to donate to his favorite charity, which is probably himself, if he could prove that it was Greek. And as I say, he went from no, they could not, to well, some could, and this and that. Then you listen to him in some of his others, and the Greek turned into Aramaic. Okay, so as I asked him, and you can see, okay, so if the Hebrews could not read and write Hebrew, but according to him, they spoke every other language in the world. Which, and I'm sorry, but, you know, it's like me being an American. I can speak every language in the world except English. Sounds kind of fishy to me. I'm from New York, and I'm sorry, I really can't I can't swallow that camel. Okay, but this was his point. Listen to and make up your own mind, because it's not difficult. He says it. You can watch him say it himself. Okay. And I asked him, I said, okay, so you're saying that everywhere that the Jews went and built synagogues, that they learned the other people's languages and they couldn't speak their own. And I asked him, well, then please tell me, who taught the Hebrews, who taught the Jews to speak Hebrew again? Was it the Greeks or the Romans? Because according to the Bible, the Egyptians could speak Hebrew, the Babylonians could speak Hebrew, the Greeks spoke Hebrew. Remember in the book of Acts, okay, when Saul is in an argument with the people in the city, okay, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and the riot, the uproar was so humongous that from the Roman fort, they came running down. You know, the army came running down to try to see what was the riot that was going on in the city. Okay, and they surrounded Saul and they took him up on the steps. And Saul asked him, who is called Paul. Paul is Latin, Saul is Hebrew. Okay, again showing that. But he asked the centurion. He said, "May I speak to you?" And the centurion said, "Can you speak Greek?" Whoa, wait a minute. If everybody spoke Greek, if everybody was speaking Greek, that'd be a pretty stupid question. It would be like you turn around and ask me, "Can I speak English?" Am I speaking English to you? Obviously a pretty stupid question. In my point, that would end our conversation, because if you're speaking English to me and you ask me, "Can I speak English?" that would end our conversation. I prefer not to get into a stupid conversation. So for the Roman to ask someone that's speaking to him in Greek, suppose according to the scholars, okay, would be preposterous. Okay, now he turned and asked him if he could speak to the people, and he said sure, and he spoke in Hebrew. Okay, the Bible always mentions, it translates from Hebrew, many Hebrew words. I mean, on the crucifix on top of the cross. It was written in Greek, Latin, and Hebrew. So the Romans spoke all three, because the Romans are the ones that wrote it. It's the deception of Satan is deep. It's very deep. Do you seek the truth? Because that's the only thing that can save you, is the truth. Okay, there's nothing else that can do anything for you. The truth is what shall set you free. Okay? So, and I would ask you, if this doesn't go along with your beliefs, but it is the truth, if it is the truth, should you stay with the lie or should you go to the truth? Read the book of Revelation. Tell me if you find the word Christian in there. The word Christian in the entire Bible appears 3 times. See if you find Christians in the book of Revelation. Now, many will say, well, look, there's... Okay, unless you see the word Christian, okay, don't tell me what, the preacher, the priest, or history, or the scholar, or anybody else has told you it means. Okay, because when you look at the armies of the world surrounding the city of Israel, okay, it speaks of all 12 tribes of the children of Israel coming back to the land. It doesn't mention Christians at all. It does say a multitude from the Gentiles. Doesn't mention Christians at all. Okay, who are these Gentiles? They're the same as the Egyptians that ran into the houses of the Hebrews, of the children of Israel, before the last plague. Okay, these were Egyptians that came and said, we know that what you preach is the truth. We know that the mighty one that is with you is the real mighty one. Please, let us come under your roof and be protected. Why? Because they didn't want their firstborn sons to die. So, if you don't want to die, if you don't want your children to die, seek the truth. That's the only thing that matters, is the truth. If Buddha was the truth, I'd be a Buddhist, because I'd be a fool not to. If Islam was the truth, I'd be a Muslim, because I would be a fool not to. The Bible is true. Every bit of it. Just not the way the Christians tell it. Not the way Satan tells it. Get offended, write me at faithinaliasnotfaith@gmail.com. Write me and tell me your position. I'm not here to offend you. I'm here to try to tell you the truth. Only Yahweh can open your eyes. That's why I don't get offended. Okay, because they're not my words. I'm not the one that's convincing you of anything. I can't convince you of anything. Only Yahweh's mercy can open your eyes. Well, I mean, imagine probably the most known Christian verse in the world, John 3:16. And I'll read it from King James. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Okay, now, people have been quoting this forever. Have you ever once had your eyes open to the word begotten? Only begotten. Okay, and for those of you that don't know what the word begotten or created means, look it up. Look it up in a dictionary. Yeah, you remember what books are? Open up a book. Open up Webster's. Okay? Open up Britannica. Open up a dictionary and look up the word begotten. So, a more clearer translation for people that don't really have a halfway decent vocabulary, because begotten is not, a big word. It's a very old word. King James put it in 400 years ago. It means created. And again, God is neither Greek nor Hebrew nor Latin. It German, Old English. So if you're looking for a German deity, idol, and that's what the word God means, idol. Okay? Now, the word Elohim, means the mighty one. Do you understand the mighty one? It's kind of self-explanatory. For the mighty one so loved the world that he gave his only created son. The same as, this day I have begotten you. So Jesus was created that day. It says, this day I have created you. So what do those verses actually mean? Because those verses are true. You just have to know what they mean. This is why people can't see it. Okay, because who would ever use 3:16? What Christian would ever use John 3:16 that says his only created son? That kind of blows the whole Trinity, Christian theology out of the water. Because, wait a minute, according to Christianity, he's not created. Okay, which, go back to Genesis 1:26. Let us make man in our image. Whoa, have you ever looked at the word image? No, because Christianity, Satan has you like this, with visors on that you can only see the word us. And us must be three. No, us is not three. Us can be three, but it can be 3,333,000. Us has no number. But the very next verse, Genesis 1:27, he created them. Singular to plural. Okay? Here are just some of the simple. The word I appears in the Bible 8,851 times. I. Can Dr. Brown or any of you show me where in the Bible I is more than one? Which brings me to the word one. One appears 1,967 times. Can anybody ever show me in the Bible where one states there is a Trinity? We are three and we are like one. Again, he created them. He appears 10,430 times in the Bible. Can anybody show any time where he is plural? Because this is what Satan says. Oh, I is plural. He is plural. One is plural. Show me anywhere. Okay? When you take something and you try to make up, it's like the story of the egg. See, it's like an egg. I've heard this so many times. And I try to tell Christians, can you at least get a pen? Here, let me give you a pen and take like between a chapter and write in there, I am like an egg. I have a shell of white and a yolk. And the three of us are one egg. Okay, because other than that, like Dr. Brown says, we don't care about opinions. But he does care about his own opinion. That's the only opinion that matters, is his. Which is, as woke as today, as woke as woke gets. Okay, everybody else's opinion is garbage except mine. Mine's the only opinion that matters because I'm the one that knows. And everybody knows that I'm right. Is the world still flat? Because everybody knew that. All of these things are totally, totally untrue. Okay? We look at some of the other words all the way through. As I say, the word Lord doesn't exist. Okay? The Bible says, they shall know my name, and those that know my name shall be saved. Look it up. Read the whole book. Read the whole book. How many of you have ever actually read the entire Bible? Read it over and over. If you had a deadly disease, which we all actually do, it's called aging. It's called we're all going to die. If you had a disease, wouldn't you want to look up and see what the disease was and how to cure it? Well, that's what the Bible is. It's a book telling you what you have and how to change who you are. Now, can you change? No. Can a leopard change its spots? Can an Ethiopian change the color of his skin? No. With man, it is impossible. With Yahweh, all things are possible. But each person can only go by what we're shown, by what we see. Simon, who's called Peter, okay, his actual name was Cephas, okay. He said to Yahshua, he told him, he said, but I've left everything and chosen you, chosen to follow you. And the response was, you didn't choose me, I chose you and ordained you. You never chose me. I chose you. Yahweh is the one that calls you. The same as there are the 10 lost tribes. Yahweh will call for all those to awaken. Okay, throughout history, the 10 tribes that were assimilated by the Assyrians and have disappeared. But after that, history. Okay, and the good thing about the Catholic Church is that they keep very good history. They've kept things written down. Okay, look up persecution of the Jews. Okay, you will see, which to me brings me to one of those where it is written, they shall know you are my disciples if you have love. By your love, they shall know you. Okay, and I know that it's not the easiest thing, but the Christian history is as bloody gets. Okay, and which brings me to Matthew 24. Now, let's put this into context. Okay, this is what you Christians would call a Jew telling 12 Jews, after I am dead, many shall come in my name, saying they are Christ, and shall deceive many. I would ask you, can you show me one single person? You have basically 2,000 years of history. Show me one person that has come up and said, hey, I'm Christ, I'm Jesus, and has deceived many. Now, and I would forewarn you that to use Jimmy Jones, who had, less than 2,000 followers in a planet of over 6 billion people, 2,000 really isn't many. Okay? Plus, Jimmy Jones never once said, I'm Christ, I'm back. David Koresh, 200, and never said he was Christ. Okay, so you have 2,000 years. Now, and I do understand Christian theology. Christian theology says, no, this will be the Antichrist. The Antichrist is going to come and say, hi, I'm Jesus, I'm back. And will deceive many, will deceive the world. And then the true Christians, he's going to put you to death. He's going to take you before kings. He's going to, bring you into the synagogues. Not too many Christians that I know go to the synagogue. Okay? And he will put some of you to prison. He will kill others. He will do all these things. This is a Christian theology coming from Matthew 24. And Luke has the exact same account. Okay, now, I would ask you, the same as when we seen, okay, now does it ever once in Matthew 24 say, this is what the Antichrist is going to do to Christians? No. This is a Jew talking to 12 Jews saying, after I am dead, many will come saying they are Christian, they are Christ. Or Christian, it's the same word. When you go to the Greek, same exact word. Okay, but let's just look at this. Who are the only people on the planet that have a Christ? Maybe Christians. Who are the only people that claim to come from the Jews but are not Jews? Christians. The first letter of John says they're the Antichrist. They have the false Messiah. Now, let's see. The beginning of Christianity was technically in Rome. The first government that became a Christian government was the Romans. Emperor Constantine turned the Roman Empire into a Christian nation. Okay, that was the official religion of the Roman Empire, was Christianity. Now, at that point, the Roman Empire had been around for almost 1,000 years. From the time that they declared themselves their religion Christianity, it took less than 100 years and Roman Empire was destroyed. And they took their last bath. They went into the Dark Ages, which now the Christians have changed to the Middle Ages. Middle Ages of what? Is this like we're in, the Hobbit world? The Middle Ages? Okay. Because they realized that, in recent years, they have realized, because you look at old books, them things you turn pages, old books, and it's called the Dark Ages. Why? Because the only place that had the Dark Ages was Christian countries. They no longer bathed. They all the time were in starvation. I mean, even their culinary, their food, they had this is why the spices of India and China were so, because your food was bland. There was no nothing. Okay? And I used to ask them, was this a gift from Jesus? Because you just went into the Dark Ages. The Muslims were thriving. China was thriving. Okay? I mean, and as I was speaking of the love of Christians, anybody that believes that Christianity was founded by love, you really, it's impossible to even say, because Hitler was the biggest Christian that anybody knows, and don't even realize he's a Christian, because the lies that have come out to try to divert from Christianity to say that this man was a Christian. But that's who he was. Okay? You have the founding of the Christian church, which was the Catholics, which the Pope's technical title is Christ on earth. You don't get much stronger evidence than that. Okay, the Pope's technical title is Christ on earth. So the Pope is Christ. Okay, then you have Martin Luther that says he came from Christ. You have the Presbyterians say they come from Christ. You have every Christian denomination claims that they are followers, that they come from Christ. Okay, and basically every one of them have put Jews in prison, killed them in the synagogues, because that's who you find in the synagogues. You don't find too many Christians in the synagogues unless they're killing Jews. Okay, what a loving people. What a loving history. Okay, when all nations of the world surround the nation of Israel, when they surround the city of Jerusalem. Okay, now, 1/3 of the nations, more than 1/3 of the nations on the planet are all Christian nations. If all nations come against the children of Israel, that's what it specifically says in the book of Revelation. It doesn't say anybody's coming against the Christians. Okay, it says they're coming against the children of Israel. Then Yahweh comes from the clouds and wipes out all these nations, okay, that came against the children of Israel. See if that can sink in a little bit. But I think I'm going to end here for the moment. I think it's, yous need a rest from the truth. Try to grasp what is real. Drop me a line. Faith in a lie is not faith @gmail.com. Peace.